Hello students, let us revisit The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. The poem was covered quite a long time back. Let us reread the poem and then we will be evaluating, reading the some answers and evaluating them. The poem is from the first slide written by Robert Frost. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. It's a very brief poem, and at the spur of the moment, as the poet was walking in a dejected mood, the crow shook some dust of snow on the poet's shoulder, and that made a change of mood, a change of heart, and a change of mood, and uh, revived from depression and whatever day part of the day he has wasted or destroyed, he seemed to have re-enlivened that moment. Now, let us see what kind of questions we can have from this brief poem and how we need to bring our writing strategies in order to score full marks. More of it, it's the textual understanding that is right before us. We'll try using the name of the poet, that is Robert Frost, and the text that we have for a better understanding. It is in our textbook, The First Flight. What do the crow and the hemlock symbolize? The crow symbolizes sorrow, as well as the hemlock tree symbolizes sorrow. So now, if you were to rephrase it, we will say Robert Frost in his poem Dust of Snow has used symbolism in his poem where crow and hemlock both were used for depicting sorrow or symbolizing sorrow. The mood of the poem, the poet changed because now it's a these close that is in the blanks that is given. The mood of the poem, Robert Frost in his poem Dust of Snow, brings about the change or brings about a contrast of mood. He saw the crow, the poet saw the crow. Now we will not use the word sitting, we will have the word is actually perching. The crow perching on the hemlock tree and shook off the dust of snow on him, on the poet. Thus, the falling of the dust changed the poet's mood. Kindly make a note of the word perch, perched. The crow was perching, not sitting. Sitting is used for human beings and other such animals, robots. What does the poet mean where he says and saved some part of the day? Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, mentioned that the poet has saved some part of the day as he did not waste the time in repenting and regretting anymore. That means that the time that he had regretted, that remaining time, he did not waste it anymore. What shook the dust of snow? A crow shook the dust of snow, but it is factual. It can come handy in your uh, MCQs. What does the poet want to convey through the poem Dust of Snow? Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, projects brings home a message that sometimes certain moments or actions which are simple have large significance in life. It is evident that such moments can change the mood or life of a person for good. It can be said that the way a crow shook down dust, don't write shakes down, write use the past tense, shook down the dust of snow on the poet and inspired him to overcome his depression and thoughts is evident that certain moments in life can bring about changes, cheerfulness, and make the moment useful for us in life. Let's proceed and see what do we have next. What side of nature do crow and hemlock represent? Crow is black, harsh-voiced bird, and hemlock is a tree with poisonous, bitter fruit. Both are not useful. They represent the dark, depressive, sorrowful, bitter side of nature. Now we can take the textual information from here and now we can construct our own answer saying that Robert Frost in his poem Dust of Snow uses the symbol crow as um, a bird that represents black. Black is for darkness and depression. Similarly, the poet uses the hemlock tree as a symbolism which is known for bitterness and poison, which is a poisonous tree and it is known for its bitter fruit. It also it is useless in nature. The poet has brought about a picture where certain things which are useless in nature can be can turn out to be more helpful for the human beings. It only needs a perspective or a point of view that can change our life for the good. Why does the poet use such a poetically uncommon bird and tree? We can see that poetically used, usually the poets use common birds like pigeon and other such animals which depict a certain kind of symbolism, represent symbolism, for example owl for wisdom, and even trees, birds trees has been used, many other trees which are very famous among the poets and they have been used in most of the poems. But here Robert Frost has brought in something which is of the odd. Now let us see how, why did he select this particular bird and this particular tree, that is the hemlock tree and the bird crow. Let us see, read the answer. The poet seems to be in a depressive and sorrowful mood. In such a mood, one cannot think of sweet and beautiful side of nature. The harsh, bitter, and poisonous images come to one's mind. That is why he uses an uncommon, harsh, ugly crow and poisonous tree like hemlock. Now let us reconstruct this answer. Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, has selected the hemlock tree and the crow to convey the message that things a thing that things which are worthless in the world seems to bring home the best of the memories in our life. He has selected hemlock because it is bitter and poisonous, whereas the crow is also of no use. When the poet, it is evident that the poet was in a bitter mood and dejected mood, and at the given moment, the beautiful side of nature is the beautiful side of nature cannot be appreciated in the given mood. Now, if we were to use the technique of writing, say for example, the Robert Frost in his poem Dust of Snow projects symbolizes uses the motifs 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 of crow and hemlock in his poem to depict depressive nature or to complement his depressive nature. It is evident that when the poet was in the depressive mood, he thought of certain symbolic elements, animals, and plants which would complement his depressive nature. Justify the role of the crow in the poem Dust of Snow in changing the poet's mood. Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, uses the crow and the birch and the hemlock tree for for shaking off his mood and changing it for the good. I believe anyone can be used. I think it is evident. I think that the way snow dust was shaken off changed the poet's mood. Perhaps it gave the poet inspiration or idea to behave in the same manner, that is, to shake off the depressive thoughts and revive his cheerful mood. Over here, the word change of mood is a citation. What mood of the poet is reflected in the poem? How does it reflect? Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, projects a sorrowful and depressive mood which is reflected in the poem. The use of the bird crow, which is ugly and harsh, and hemlock tree, which is a poisonous plant, reflects the poet's mood or complements the poet's mood. Write a note on the setting of the poem. Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, has selected sadness. Thus, he had also selected a setting which was calm, quiet, and sad. The poet presents a perfect setting. There are four elements in the poem. All these four elements match one another or complement one another. The snow stands for energy. The hemlock tree is a symbol of sadness. The crow considered ominous. The poet's mood was also sad. It is evident that the crow shook the hemlock tree and falling of the dust of snow changed the poet's mood. Where was the poet and what happened to him? Robert Frost, in his poem Dust of Snow, was walking on a snowy evening. The poet was under a hemlock tree and the tree was covered with snow. Uh, as the poet describes in the poem, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. It is evident that a crow shook the tree, and the dust of snow fell on the poet. The poet adds that has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. It is evident that it has changed the heart and the mind and the mood of the poet. A positive attitude in life can make the world a better place to live. Do you agree or disagree with reference to the poem Dust of Snow? Express your views, bringing out the inherent values. Now, over here, it is a completely extrapolatory question, which is where it is inviting your thoughts, opinion, and views. So, we need to build our foundation on the poem, but we need to give our own perspective, ideas, and views in this particular answer. Let us see what do we have before us and before we can reconstruct the opening line and add certain citations. I completely agree with the statement that positive attitude can make the world a better place to live in Robert Frost and Dust of Snow. Now, this you can see the structure is completely incorrect. Talks about how on otherwise bad day alerted into a not so bad day due to the action of the snow. First of all, a very long line. The structure is completely incorrect. It was a seemingly disconnected occurrence that brought about a change of mood in the poet. One lesson that can be learned from the from the poem is to see the brightness amidst the gloom. The crow and the hemlock are all dark images, and yet the poet sees the color of happiness. Another lesson is that life is made up of small joys. It is through them that one can always manage to see positivity in negativity. Now we have some idea that we can take from this answer, but we need to construct our own answer, giving our own perspective about life, about things around life, and how do we deal with sadness. But we need to base our answer in The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. So we begin with Robert Frost in his poem The Dust of Snow projects a switch over of mood from depression to happiness or from negativity to positivity. It is evident that the poet has used dim, dark symbols like crow and hemlock to balance his changed mood of liveliness and happiness. The poet has conveyed a hidden message in between the lines that small moments in life can prove to be a spark which might turn out or ignite a fire in our heart and our minds to look at the positive sides of life once again. In my opinion, or I strongly believe that the image that the poet has used of darkness and the image that the poet wants to project of happiness has shown the complete contrast of life or the ups and downs of life or the negativity or positivity of life, which is definitely a part and parcel of life, and one needs to get over the negativity or setbacks in life in order to begin anew. The students need to write their own answers with an opening line using the poet's name, the title to the poem. It is evident that it can be cited that will make the answer evaluative. And if you need to give your opinion, it is I think, I feel, I believe. With that, and you can add your narrative, whatever you need would know about the poem. Thank you very much for your kind attention.